Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar, Significance of MSSP during COVID-19 lockdown. And whoever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And again, once again, thank you for joining. Today, in this topic, what we are going to talk about is the MSSP. MSSP is the name some kind of new to many people. Somebody might have already been used to it, but traditionally we had different terminologies in-house. Then we kind of talked about outsourcing a lot, and then we talked about managed services, service provider. And of late, we've been talking about managed security service provider, which is MSSP. There are, yeah, from the outside, everything might look the same, but there are subtle differences. And then MSSP is an expert in security is helping you rather than other outsourcing and manage is like more mundane regular task. But we will kind of look into more detail on how the MSSP is different, and how anybody, if you're a C-level executive or CISO, how would you kind of get benefit from MSSP, or do your company is the right candidate to have an MSSP partner, or how do I maximize my value by investing in an MSSP? So those kind of things we'll be discussing, and also we'll be throwing a real-time examples and kind of guidelines, because every business is different. But how they build their ROI is up to them, how they value their time and their revenue, their business, and stuff like that. But here we'll give you some guideline on that. Having said that, I'm kind of jumping into introducing today's speaker. Um, just to introduce myself, I'm Senthil Palaniappan, President and CEO of Sennovate, and I've been having the industry for over 25 years. I've seen various phases here in all this in-house. Yeah, if you look at MSP outsourcing and MSSP, I've been kind of spread across this period, and I specialize in identity and access management and infrastructure solutions, and consulted various companies. And today we have two main speakers, actually Geeta Nadarajan and Michelle Michael. Geeta is our delivery manager. She has a lot of experience in delivering security services. I say actually customer loves her, and so she takes out the pain. Always her mission is to increase value for every customer and save time. That's the mission we operate on. And she's leading in various assessments and piloting, integrating various products available in the SaaS world to kind of combine it. How do you deliver as a single value to the customer? Michelle, she's over 8 years of experience. She's heading sales and marketing, and she has a variety of experience in understanding customer problems and working with various technology partners of Sennovate, and building the partner relationship, and how do you combining this partnership to maximize customer value and alleviating customers' pain. That's our mission. Having said that, I directly jump into we go into the presentation. Geeta and Michelle, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Senthil. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. We're glad you're attending, and I hope you're all staying safe during this pandemic. To kick things off, I guess the first question is, Geeta, for you. During this pandemic in mind, with this pandemic in mind, and, a lot of companies being economically impacted, why should we go with an MSSP?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Michelle. My warm greetings, and hoping that you all are staying safe during this pandemic, and I believe we'll fight through this together. So excited to be here and talking about MSSP. It's a great question, by the way, Michelle, to start our webinar with, why one should go with an MSSP, right? So I would cut to the chase. As you can see the highlights on the screen. So with so anyone who is considering to have a decreased workload on the help desk, because where MSSP enables self-service features through security solutions. For instance, password resets can be, can be achieved with less to no support, where through which you can achieve taking some load off of the help desk. And also, what are the advantages? It might be, it intensively reduces the help desk workload and also reduces the cost of maintaining a help desk workforce. In addition to that, reducing help desk will also help in achieving the application specific access request, where customer defines their requirement on role based access for their application system, and which will be then responsible for executing and managing defined access through periodic audits. And also, like having said that, seamless to automated onboarding and offboarding employees will be very good consideration for an organization, to have the help desk effort reduced. Moving on to the compliance part, every organization is looking, forward for keeping up to the compliance and have them improved. So to add to that point, so an MSSP takes on the burden for the compliance of an organization and allows them to shift their focus back to their business needs. So in short, with an MSSP, you can get access to the brightest minds in multiple areas of expertise, including the compliance part, and 24/7 monitoring and alerting, and also cost saving, and more importantly, improved peace of mind during the auditing process for the organization. And the next thing, it's a myth with most of the people out there in the market thinks that MSSP is a luxury and it's not like something any organization can have. No, it's not. Even small organization can benefit from the MSSP services. Because MSSP can free up their in-house IT team also. Like, even if you have smaller IT team, you can still opt for an MSSP. So you don't have budget necessary to hire the right people and implement the right tools. So as I mentioned earlier, finding and retaining the cyber talent can be very expensive. So can implementing and managing the tools necessary to fully manage the security of your organization. And but here MSSP can help manage this cost by obtaining volume licensing, and we also do utilizing tools for multiple organizations, and we provide cyber skills when they are needed instead of paying them constantly, even when not in use. Okay, so an MSSP can even manage these tools and kind of fully outsource. You can fully outsource your security program to MSSPs. And the other concern where each organization would be having is like how to have their security platform up to date and advanced. So you can't keep up with the latest security technologies. Cybersecurity is heart and soul of the MSSP, and because of this, MSSP always invest in the latest technologies. And by using an MSSP, you will be able to take advantage of the latest and greatest technologies without the hassle of changing platforms or retraining your staff in the latest security tools. And to finalize your question, Michelle, it's been challenging for people out there to find and retain the talent within their organization. In the recent years, organizations are recognizing now more than ever the importance or necessity of investing in security. Being said that, finding and retaining security expertise within the organization is not an easiest of task. But with MSSP, you can have access to all of that expertise at a fraction of that cost. And when you need vulnerability management, you will work with vulnerability management expert. And when you need penetration testing, you would work with penetration testing expert. This can be extremely valuable, especially for the businesses with small to medium-sized networks. So I hope I answered your question, Michelle. This would give anyone an idea that whether they should be going for an MSSP or not.
Yes, Geeta, very well said, and thank you for answering my question. Now, another thing is, when it comes to, companies considering MSSP, how will companies know if they need an MSSP or if they're even a good fit?
It's again, like, it's a very good question to ask for oneself, especially if they have an organization somewhere between small to mid-sized companies. To answer this question, I would like to consider the following areas that is listed in our slide. To start with, cybersecurity posture. So I would so if you want your cybersecurity posture strong, then you should strongly consider having an MSSP built for your organization. So now, what is cybersecurity posture? If you are not aware of it, so just given high level, it is a defense against your cyber attacks. So it is the collective security status of all of your software and hardware services. And why it is important? So you have to understand where your organization is most vulnerable, right? So only then you can create a more secure environment. And it is also important to create a habit of regularly monitoring and maintaining your cybersecurity posture. And you cannot achieve that by you can still achieve with your internal IT team, but you have to evaluate yourself how strong it should be and how frequent your monitoring should be in order to have a strong security posture in place. And then the next thing that I want any organization or decision maker to consider is their security policies and incident response plan. Okay, why an organization should have an information security policies, right? So the policies defines what is required of an organization employees from a security perspective. Okay, so that is all it is. And it also reflects the risk appetite of an organization's management, and it should reflect the managerial mindset when it comes to the security. Not only that, it is also the mechanism to hold individual accountable for compliance with expected behavior with regards to information security. So these security policies help organization to have their platform more secured. And then the incident response plan is equally, I would consider, yeah, important to for the factor of evaluate oneself to understand whether they need an MSSP or not. So if they have an incident response plan, well-planned approach in addressing and managing reactions after a cyber attack or a network security breach, then it is well and good. If not, then their goal is to minimize the damage and reduce the disaster recovery time and mitigate the breach-related expenses. So if you still consider this area as should be like a strongest area within your organization, then I strongly recommend one to go for an MSSP. Then anyone would be considering like their organization environment, how their environment is getting monitored. It's like, very good question to ask for oneself, especially when their organization's network security is always a main topic of concern due to the ever-growing number of cyber threats in the workplace. And the next thing that I would like to address here is to the risk assessment of every environment. Would it be possible to perform the risk assessment with the existing IT department or IT expertise that they have in house? You lack the necessary resources to monitor your security at all hours. You might have the right people in place, but monitoring them at all hours is not kind of achievable with an in-house IT team, with my what I can see from people experiencing. So security is a time-consuming and complicated challenge. Even if a company employs an internal security team, most companies cannot afford to have eyes on security 24/7. Then at last, I would like to have covered with the data breach, right? So what happens after the data breach, right? So will you be still able to handle that properly? Would you want it to be handled it properly even after a data breach happened? Then go for an MSSP, because they can do the data capture, network recording, and also search and do the inspection for you. And they can even report to you, which helps you to understand and investigate further. So these are the factors I would suggest the decision makers to consider when they have this question in their mind, whether do I need an MSSP?
Absolutely, yeah. I think these are all very important, pieces that you need to be thinking about while you're putting your security together. Now, Geeta, can you speak a little bit on, what are the best approaches or the best approach to evaluate my organization's need for an MSSP?
Uh, Definitely, Michelle. Before addressing to your that question, right? So on our screen, we have a very interesting comparison that I would like to go through real quick, where most of the people get confused with MSPs, MSSPs, or in-house. Not to say confused, but they really kind of finds difficult to find the difference, what different these guys do, right? So uh, we can quickly run over this table that we have, where when people have in-house IT team taking care of their security, their focus will be more on operations, when the MSPs focus would be on the technology, but the original purpose will be achieved uh, by having an MSSP in place, which is the security. If your focus should be on security, then go for the MSSP. And what they manage and monitor, MSSP monitors network security 24/7, 365 days, wherein the in-house people, they manage technology and security only during the business hours, which is kind of an advantage for the people who are trying to get into their network. So while the MSPs, they do the health of the technology. They manage whether the technology is strong and enough. So those are the stuff that MSSP people do. Um, then the visibility, right? So in-house people, they will not be doing any reporting on the compliance part, while MSSP does the compliance part for the organization. Again, the MSPs does not do the compliance part. Uh, the technical expertise are trained to fix technology and system health with MSP people, if they have MSP people with them. And the MSSP people train their technical expertise people to detect and respond to the security threats, wherein the in-house, they just keep tech environments operating. And the SLAs, when we come to SLA, the MSSP will be very alerted. They will do the investigation for the organization in case of any data breaches. And the availability is, again, as I showed you before, 24/7 and 365 days, which is very competitive when it compared to in-house and MSP. I guess this gives an overall picture for everyone who is listening to this session, Michelle. So now I would like to address to your question. What is the best approach to evaluate my organization need? So as I covered in the previous slides, so make yourself some checklist of items to evaluate your need for the MSSP. We have helped you with the most popular factors, which is time, because time is very important when you are running your business, and the people, then because you have to have the right people in place, and if their effort needs to be utilized to the fullest to get your business functional. And then the expertise, try to evaluate and see whether your need requires an in-house expertise or going for an MSSP, or what level of expertise your requirement is asking for. And then the budget. I hope my previous responses would have given you a clear understanding of budget is not only the factor that you should be thinking about when you are going for an MSSP. Then really look for the need. What is exactly your need, whether it's the compliance, or do you have any existing pain points? Say, for example, you're struggling to onboard and offboard your employees, or trying to give the right access to the employees. Try to brainstorm your pain points and see the need. and at last, the compliance and auditing. If your existing team can handle your compliance and auditing, it is completely fine. But keep yourself a standard and try to see whether that standard can be achieved with the existing in-house. And if not, then these kind of factors would obviously give you the result whether to go with an MSSP or not.
Yeah, very well said. Now, Geeta, let's talk about, what are some of the things that we need to consider when you are at the point when you're ready to select an MSSP vendor?
Yes. Now, so no, everyone has this question in their mind, like if they have decided to go with an MSSP, who should I go with, right? So there are very good MSSP vendors out there, including ourselves, we Sennovate. So to choose the right vendor, right? So to outsource your 24/7 security, even monitoring, analysis, and alerting. So I have this areas that I have listed here should help anyone to determine if whether you're getting the most effective security services. The first thing is advanced threat detection. So any leading MSSP, they should be able to use the combination of people and technology to accurately detect and prioritize indicators of attack and compromise. So they should be able to achieve that. And then you should be seeing their managed detection and response. So any next generation MSSPs, they enhance your security with managed detection and response services. This will assist your team by managing technologies at the perimeter, core, and endpoint to detect. So make sure they do that. And the third thing that I would like to ask with your MSSP vendor is SOAR, which is security orchestration and automated response. So the automation or semi-automation is required to quickly contain high fidelity security event and allow time for incident responders to investigate and remediate threats before they cause any further damage to your organization. So this is very important for you to look for with your MSSP vendor. And the fourth is the risks scoring, which where the MSSP they provide their clients with security dashboards. Even the data shows each client risk compared to their peer group. Say, for example, if you're in the same domain, you can even compare yourself with your peer groups. And the fifth thing is the full life cycle management. Many organizations lack the internal resources to manage their security products and keep them running to vendor recommended standards, but MSSP should be capable of managing them for the organization or for the business. And then dedicated client success team is obviously in addition to the support of 24/7 security team, MSSP should assign their clients with a client success team that assists with account management and strategic security advisory functions. It kind of helps the good feeling and makes them feel more secured. It should make you feel more secured. That is the reason I would suggest you to have a dedicated client success team with your MSSP vendor, and then go for flexibility and customization evaluation within your MSSP. Every client is unique, yet not every MSSP has the ability to customize their services, but look for how flexible and customized options you get with your MSSP vendors. And then powerful case management. Any MSSP should use industry-leading tools for case management and workflow automation. So that is a very key, important aspect that an MSSP vendor should be having within their solution model. And then the global SOC operations. Global MSSPs have unrivaled visibility into advanced threats and continuity of operations that regional providers cannot offer. So go for global SOC operations, and due to volume and breadth of their client base and 24/7 operations, global MSSPs see more advanced threat on recurring basis. So, and they will be in a stronger position to respond quickly. So that is the reason I would ask you to go and ask for global SOC operations. And the last thing I would like to complete my response to your question, Michelle, is I would ask them to go for SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. As an MSSP should complete an annual audit to demonstrate that it follows a strict information security policies and procedures that encompasses the security, availability, and confidentiality of the organization's data or even their customer data.
Okay, great. Thank you for addressing that question, Geeta. My next question to you is how would I evaluate my return on investment for an MSSP service? Let's say, for instance, can we consider single sign-on?
Definitely. Our customers, our end partners, are no longer asking for single sign-on. They are demanding it, actually. Because managing usernames and password in spreadsheets or sticky notes, it's a huge, security risk, and password resets are expensive both in terms of lost productivity and support costs. With SSO, with single sign-on, it's getting very easier for end users. So to give a disclaimer for this slide, guys, I have considered all of the numbers here that I have crunched here is mere my assumption, but this model can be worked for your case. Like you can change the numbers here and you can play with it, but this is mere my assumption, and this is only limited to one single solution that MSSP can offer. I don't want to cover all of the things, but this specific return on investment is for single sign-on solution that any MSSP vendor should be able to provide you. Where if you are an organization of say 1,000 users with say per day number of logins is 10 for an user, and the seconds that it takes is 10 seconds for every login, and number of work days per year, it's pretty obvious, it's 250 days, and pretty much the salaries, everything here is my assumption. Password reset per employee per year is 10, assuming. Number of minutes per password reset is 20. It's again an assumption. And the help desk call per year for a password reset per employee is, let's say, 10, right? So I would like to do a quick calculation here, three main calculation. One is the productivity gain on the time. Say, for example, it's 1,000 employees for they have 10 logins per day, which takes each login takes for 10 seconds. And for an year, it sums up to those many seconds per year, which is costing the company 260K. And this is the value, this is kind of a productivity gain that I'm seeing with all of my assumptions here. And again, it's the productivity gain on the person by by saving how password reset, by enabling the self-service, and how much I can save on the help desk is what I have shown it here. So again, all of these numbers has been crunched and approximately, and I hope this gives a high level understanding of how the MSSP solution model can help an organization.
Thank you, Geeta. I think that's a very good information stack that you've been providing. That helps to clarify most of the points, and thanks for Michelle to can ask the right questions to kind of make it more interesting. And to sum this up, the whole idea here is this is a COVID situation, right? It's a lockdown. We don't know whether it's going to be the next 3 months or 1 year. Nobody knows about the future and how long it's going to recur. That's all we don't know. So look, based on my experience, when I look back, it's all started with the advent of a cloud, we started more and more relying on the technology to connect to our digital assets and resources. Then with the COVID situation, it is going to be more and more, unless you are physically present to do something there, and then we have to leverage the technology to use to first access our assets or applications through applications, various things. And one is access, and then right level of access to those products. And one accessing when people we employ people remotely, and then people were connecting to our digital assets. Am I protecting, doing the right necessary steps to protect my digital assets? That is another question we may be asking. Then connecting through this, all the networks and internal resources, are these resources protected? So then another spectrum comes into play, like, again, when in my business needs to keep my customer data, then that comes to a whole big 9 yard of compliance. Like, I know, am I following the government regulations to make sure that I protect the customer data, customer interest? How do I minimize my risks over that, and how do I build my customer confidence? Those kind of questions comes more and more after this COVID situation. And that takes with this cloud, then a lot of previously, like, we have only one product, SouthSolve, maybe Oracle, maybe CA or IBM. They have one product that solves all the problems in the world. But now with the cloud, we have so many small solutions available, and so many problems. At the time, only we had fewer problems, fewer risks. Now so many risks and so many problems out there. So how do we combine these solutions to address my primary concern? How do I protect my digital assets? Then we think about, like, I have internal staff. Can internal staff together and keep themselves updated with what is happening? And this is where MSSP as a partner, making a journey with you to close the gap. Because the MSSP vendor is especially, there are specialized security vendors, security solution providers. What they do, their primary job is to keep the eyes and ears open, and understanding what are the possible threats in the world today, and how do you proactively protect your digital assets using the available technology and products today. And so that we don't want to react um, back, say that, oh, my system is compromised, or my access is broken, or somebody stole my password, somebody accidentally accessed the asset. Those kind of things we can be avoided. So in summary, we choose a right partner, the MSSP partner, who can you can travel the journey with you, and kind of help your staff. And also you can bounce off ideas, come up with the best value proposition for your money and your investment. At the same time, it protects your digital assets. Being said, it's a wonderful presentation, and then I hope you guys get some takeaway on the MSSP. What is the importance of it? How do you, by having an MSSP, you save money and increase your return? So those kind of stuff. And once again, and thank you for watching this. We'll see you in our next webinar series.